Welcome to the Princess Power Hour, where we show you how to go from pauper to powerful by transforming your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Here's the princess of podcasting herself, Natalie Thomas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We have a special guest back on the show today. We're going to have Jacquie Walbern, and we're going to be talking about the diabetes destroyer. Now, she asked me before we started, you got to do that little lipstick thing. And I said, you better believe I am, because everybody knows we do our color of the day. So since Jacquie's coming back, I had to just mix it up a little bit, and we'll have to surprise her with this one. So one of the super cool things about our lipstick is because you put on 3 very light layers, you can mix and match the colors and create your own colors, Jacquie. So it is kiss-proof, it is smudge-proof, and lead-free, wax-free, GMO-free, and all of those exciting things. It's vegan. But today I've mixed 1 layer of Violet Volt, which is a purple, and so clearly I could do 3 layers of purple, but I don't know that I'm quite that bold, ladies. So I did 2 layers of caramel apple diamond on top, which has just a little bit of sparkle. We all know that diamonds are a girl's best friend. And then, of course, I always seal it with the gloss, which is the secret sauce that locks it all in, and we'll keep it on for 4 to 18 hours. So you can check that out over at www.lipstickkissesandlove.com. You can pick 1 or more colors. I actually have a class where I teach people, if they buy several colors and several glosses, I have a special where I can teach you how to do a combination to make a different color every day for 30 days. So that's pretty cool. So Jacquie, can I tell everybody about you and how cool you are?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So Jacquie is a condition-specific nutrition and lifestyle coach, empowering you to take back your health using target foods, nutritionals, and botanicals, using a function approach to rebalance the body into a healing state. After Jacquie found herself in a downward health spiral and Western medicine had abandoned her to a declining life of drugs, she healed herself from 10 different chronic autoimmune spectrum conditions: allergies, asthma, arthritis, obesity, diabetes, eczema, edema, adrenal fatigue, leaky gut, and systemic candida. So she had everything work so well and transformed her life that now she helps other people heal theirs. And today we're going to be talking about the diabetes destroyer. So where do we start, Jacquie? What does one do? What are some of the steps we take? What do we need to know about diabetes and how to heal it?
Well, I think we first need to start off with all the different types.
Yes.
Because we have type 1, which is the autoimmune condition early triggered in childhood normally, that damages the pancreas so that it secretes little or no insulin, and these people have to go on insulin usually for the rest of their lives. And then there is diabetes that's called LADA, which is late onset, or 1.5, which is what happens at the end of type 2 when the diabetes finally quits and dies, so to speak, as far as its insulin production. So type 2s can become type 1, and they call that 1.5.
Oh, I did not know that.
So, and then now type 2, now they've made type 2 rather complex, where they've actually divided it out into subtypes. And now type 2 is normally called late onset diabetes. Usually happens in adults. It's usually insulin resistance, too much insulin, too much glucose. The sugar can't get into the cells, and you end up with high blood sugar and the toxicity that goes with that. But they've divided it out into subgroups, subtypes, as in subtype O, which is 60 to 65% of all type 2 diabetes are here with the too much insulin, with abdominal weight gain, insulin, leptin resistance, high C-reactive proteins. Then there's subtype I, which is reduced insulin, which is usually on its way to the 1.5 when you start not producing insulin. Then there's subtype H, which is endocrine linked, which means that it's being brought on or supported by hypothyroid, adrenal fatigue, and weight gain evenly throughout the body. And then there's subtype S, which stands for stress, which is stress-induced high blood sugar, which also accompanies high cortisol and high blood sugar after exercise, which is very strange. Usually it goes down, but in this case, going up. There's also something called MODY, which is mature onset diabetes of the young, which is happening increasingly, more and more coming on. And then, of course, type 3 is diabetes of the brain, which includes all forms of dementia, as in Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, also includes ADD, ADHD, where you have insulin resistance in the brain.
Wow.
So there's they've made it rather complicated as far as breaking it out into all these different types and groups and everything else. But it really comes down to that diabetes is just a label given to a bunch of symptoms where you just can't quite control. Your body's having issues with sugar.
Wow.
So it really comes down to that. It's a bunch of symptoms. I hate when they use the word disease because they scare people. Oh, you have this condition, or you have this disease. When really it's just a name given to a bunch of symptoms. So your body's trying to talk to you to tell you something's wrong by giving you these symptoms. And this is like, okay, you need to change something because what you're doing is not working. So that's basically all it is. So I wanted to tell everybody now, the thing that most people, I want them to understand is that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. These blood sugar fluctuations hurt everybody, and the causes are numerous. So we're looking at, of course, there are some genetics and epigenetics, but again, your genes don't get turned on unless you do something to turn them on. Something in your environment has to turn on bad genes. So if you don't give them the things that turn them on, you give them the things that keep it turned off, then you don't have it. And if you do get it, because the gene turns on, you can turn around and you can turn the gene back off again.
Wow.
So that's the big take.
And so you did this for yourself personally. You had diabetes, and now you don't have diabetes, or you have diabetes controlled. Which is it?
Well, the way that I like to present it is that I am in remission. That's the easiest way, because I can't just turn around now and eat anything I want, because it will come back at this point. My body is still in the process of resetting itself, and that takes time. But I have it completely remissed or under control, if that's what you want to call it. I think remissed is a better word, because control just means that, okay, I'm watching it, I'm pricking my finger all the time, and I'm trying to do this and this and that, I'm taking drugs. That's kind of like under control. But remissed means that basically I'm not taking any drugs, and yet my blood sugar is normal and stable.
Wow.
But if I eat the wrong foods, it goes out of control again. So I have to continue that.
Well, all my alarm bells were going off when you were talking, because my youngest son is adopted. He was born with fetal alcohol syndrome and addicted to cocaine. Now, in the case of alcohol, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with a lot of sugars. And I've always been convinced that he has systemic candida. He won't acknowledge that. He doesn't understand it. He's very much about allopathic medicine. And he eats primarily things like top ramen noodles, which have zero nutrition. And it's all carbs. It's all sugar. And he's been diagnosed ADD. And as I'm listening to you, I'm going, this is what I always thought. He's got too much sugar, and he has pancreatic issues, so he doesn't process sugar well. And then I had no idea that type 3 was, ADD fell under that. So that's just very interesting to me. I've always felt that he could improve things with diet. And unfortunately, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Well, before I get into too much of that, let me go a little bit more into some of the things that cause this, and then we can get a little more specific. But
please, yes.
This is where, now, see, alcohol it kills off your microbiome, so that it's going to actually cause you not to have all the things that you need to be able to process all your food and to regulate all of your systems. And And without your microbiome to turn off the bad genes, you have an overgrowth there of your microbiome, can cause the proliferation of the bad microbes that can actually lead to cravings and cause overgrowth. And it's not just candida. There are other bacterial species that are also sugar loving that will also send chemical signals to your brain to tell you to eat more sugar. And this is the biggest problem. But there's also, you can also get diabetes from eating bad industrial vegetable oils, packaged foods, again, like the top ramen, leaky gut, heavy metals. And something that's really coming out strongly right now is EMFs.
Really?
Yes, I'm reading a whole bunch of stuff coming out here where they're actually showing that the microwaves, this article that I was just reading was talking about how if you work out on a treadmill, the electrical field set up for the EMFs from the treadmill actually can cause your blood sugar to go up.
Really?
And then all this other stuff, and then EMFs, they affect your immune system, causing it to down-regulate so that you now can have more overgrowth of things like candida and bad bacteria and molds and everything else in your body because of the EMFs. So the EMF stuff is coming out, and our new 5G thing is going to send huge numbers of people spiraling into all sorts of more conditions.
I believe that I've read a lot of people that are extremely against the 5G.
Hello, yes, I am too. I don't even own a cell phone. I mean, this laptop is like all that I have.
Really?
But because I am sensitive, because every time I get hit with EMFs, it's called entrainment, is the physics term. Where your body vibrates at a particular frequency of human. And each of your organs has its own frequency. And when you get hit or bombarded with other frequencies, lower frequencies than your body starts to down-regulate your own frequency to meet
come into
frequency.
sync.
And so then every single system in your body it's like a bunch of plates spinning. Or tops spinning, and when you're humming along nicely, everything's working. But when one of them starts to go off, it starts banging into all the other ones and causing them to start going out, and then you have a cascade effect in the whole body. And this is something that EMF can do. But anyway, there's also nutritional deficiencies. They're finding at many of the large clinics, when they do all these testing, they're finding out that 90% of the population is nutritionally deficient in the things they need to be able to keep their top spinning properly.
Yeah, that's not remotely surprising given, the standard American diet and the lack of nutrition, even in the vegetables, because the ground and all the things that we've put in it and everything else.
Yes.
And you said heavy metals. I remember reading a number of years ago that organically occurring arsenic in the drinking water being one of the leading causes of type 2 diabetes. And as you're talking about EMF, one of my standard thing that irritates me about this room, and about the only time I'm up here is to do a podcast, and so I'm only up here about an hour and a half, a couple times a week. I can feel electricity coming through the floor in this room. I sit in the computers on the floor, and I've actually slid wood under it to raise it off of the floor. But I can feel the electricity going up my legs and stuff. And I'm like, I've never had that before. So it's something about the grounding in this room. And that can't be healthy.
No, it's not. And not only that, I mean, just for your listeners, I mean, who are sitting here going, oh my God, what do? I can't live. I bought a separate Wi-Fi router and to plug into my Spectrum system that I have here in the house. And I turn it off every night. I find that if I don't turn it off, I can't sleep.
Really?
I can't sleep. So I have to turn it off every night about an hour before bed so that my body can and I go outside and I walk around on the grass at night to try to reground myself before I go to sleep. Otherwise, I mean, I pushed the button to turn it off and it didn't click all the way through last night, and I was tossing and turning and couldn't sleep, and I got up and I went, you know what, I'm going to check this. And lo and behold, I hadn't pushed the button far enough in to turn it off.
Oh
And it
my
was,
goodness.
and I pushed the button and I went back in my room, and within 20 minutes I was asleep. It keeps me awake. And of course, if you're not sleeping properly, that's another thing for stress, etc., and for diabetes, because that is your regeneration, your rest and restoration process is when you sleep, and when all of everything drains out of your brain, all of your body systems reset, all your detoxing goes on while you sleep. So if you're not getting a full deep sleep, 8 hours, that also can affect your cortisol levels, which will then turn around and affect your blood sugar. So it's really important to get lots of sleep. So definitely a big thing. So I'm hoping to get a nap in sometime today.
Oh, I love naps. And you were talking too about going out and walking barefoot on the grass. I walk barefoot almost all of the time, and it drives my husband crazy. And I try to explain to him that the ground is important for your health.
It is. The earth, actually, the strange part, when I read this, I just went, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. They actually found that the earth has the same frequency as humans. No other animal, just humans.
Really? Well, that's interesting, because of course
that's
in the book of Genesis, it says that God formed man out of what? The dust of the earth.
Exactly.
So isn't the earth interesting?
The earth has the exact same frequency as us. This is why it's so great to go out and walk barefoot, to be outside. You need your vitamin D from the sun. You need to take off your glasses, your sunglasses, and actually let sunlight into your eyes, because that stimulates your sleep hormones. Drawing a blank. But anyway, it helps. It actually sets your circadian rhythm so that you can sleep at night if you go outside in the sunlight and actually get some vitamin D. So, and of course, that's another deficiency that's involved in having diabetes. But that's a vitamin D deficiency.
It's huge in many illnesses, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I have a girlfriend in Norway that struggles with MS type symptoms, and her mother died of MS. And she's been very ill, but she's been taking massive doses of vitamin D, and it has really turned things around for her.
Oh, glad to hear that. Absolutely.
Well, we're going to take a super quick commercial break, everybody, and we're going to be right back. I want to ask you a quick question. How's your health? Do you or anyone that you know have health issues like type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, high cholesterol, or high blood pressure? Did you know that drinking Chanson alkaline ionized water from a Chanson water ionizer is like health insurance from your tap? While it affects everybody's bodies differently, it helps some people's bodies balance itself so well that some doctors have been able to reduce or remove their patients from medications. My favorite quote is from Dr. William Kelly of the College of Metabolic Medicine, author of The Cancer Cure. He says alkaline ionized water produced by a water ionizer has become the most important advancement in healthcare since Alexander Fleming's discovery of penicillin. So I invite you to visit chansonwater.com, say that you heard about water ionizers on Princess Power, and ask if that $200 discount is still available. All right. Thank you. We're talking with Jacquie Walbern. We're talking about the diabetes destroyer. First, she's explaining a little bit about diabetes, how it works, why it works, and we're getting to what we can do to break the power of it in our lives. Diabetes, other than type 1 diabetes, is often referred to as a lifestyle illness. And while in the beginning you said it's not our fault, there are things that we can take charge of to destroy this, to turn it around. So when you're ready, let's talk about that as well.
Okay, yes. Removing the first step, of course, is to remove as many things as you can that could be influencing. So that means cleaning up your diet, of course, and cleaning up your EMFs and, getting your nutritional thing back online, good probiotics, good whole food fermented multivitamins are the best thing to take there, because that way you're getting all the natural stuff. And if it's fermented, because you have a leaky gut situation and diabetes is on the autoimmune spectrum, That means that you have leaky gut going with this. So it's important that you get all these nutritionals absorbed. So by doing fermented whole food vitamins, you're going to be able to quickly absorb it before it can leak out or get taken away by other microbes, etc. So it increases the absorption really, really fast.
Well, I have never heard of whole food fermented vitamins. Tell us what they are, where we get them.
Well, there are several places that I believe carry them, but I happen to get mine at drax.com. It's a trusted source for me, and he also has a fabulous bone broth collagen protein powder, which they do sell at Sprouts, and they do sell at swansonvitamin.com as well. One of my favorite places as well, but it's also going to help heal the leaky gut. So it shuts down that system that leaks stuff out of your intestines that can be your heavy metals, your plastics, and all sorts of other hormone disrupting things can come leaking out of your gut. You want to seal the gut so that stuff stays where it's supposed to be, so that your body can detox it to get it out of your system.
Wow. Well, I don't want to derail our conversation about diabetes, but I think this ties in with the gut. So I do have a question for you. I recently had blood work that shows cancer. And we aren't far enough along to have a diagnosis, but I had a colonoscopy about 18 months ago that said I had literally thousands of polyps, and the ones they tested were both benign and precancerous. And they said that it was probably genetic, and I've talked with my grandmother, and starting at age 5, my mother had polyps, and I didn't know that she was hospitalized at 14. She was told she'd never survive her adulthood, and that was why my grandmother wound up letting her get married at 16. The doctor assured her she could never get pregnant because she had so much radiation, and clearly 3 children later, the doctors were not accurate on that one. But
hate when they do that.
You know, they have very kindly suggested that sometime in the future they might have to remove my entire colon, which does so much of your digestion, of your vitamins and all of those things. Yeah. And I thought, you know, I'm still in the research process, and I'm not the, you know, allopathic kind of girl. Yeah, give me some chemo and give me some radiation and let's chop this thing out and I'll be good. I'm like, no, thank you very much. I know there's another way. We'll find it. So
I will send you stuff.
Thank you.
So we'll go from there for that. And you know, later on maybe we can do another podcast talking about different things about cancer.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So but the easy part right now that we can do is I can tell you that the number one recommended eating protocol, food protocol for cancer as well as diabetes is a dairy-free ketogenic diet.
All right.
So, and that of course is your low carb, medium protein, high fat diet. And the reason that those are recommended for there is because cancer loves sugar. It needs sugar. So when you stop feeding it sugar, basically it starves to death.
I went keto, I stopped sugar, didn't quite get rid of the dairy. When you say high fat, I'm like, yay, I can eat cheese. So
no.
You're saying cheese. Oh, darn it. Okay.
Well, I mean, there are, again, you can do vegan cheese. You can do vegan cheese. That's
a lot of work if you make it yourself.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before.
For those of you that are listening, no, I don't think it was us, but for those of you that are listening, vegan cheese is usually made out of nut milk. So you're working with things like cashew milk. Yeah.
Almonds.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can make it out of zucchini. That's what we talked about, I think, once before. Is I had a recipe
where you could. That.
Yes.
Okay.
I have on Pinterest. I have a recipe on there for making your own vegan cheese out of zucchini and gelatin, beef gelatin.
Really?
And apple cider vinegar and garlic and all this other stuff. It's actually pretty good.
Wow.
And it melts just like cheese and everything else. But
really,
it satisfies my need because cheese is like my favorite food in the whole wide world. And, it's just,
I mean, you
if
take
I got,
away bread and then there's no cheese in life, you gotta have something, girl. So zucchini.
But you know what though? I mean, I make, I think, paleo muffins and paleo pancakes are absolutely to die for. And you can make them so that they are low in carb when you do paleo. So it works out really well. There's lots of paleo baking mixes and things that are low carb. You can make your own. It's just almond flour and coconut flour basically, and a little cassava flour or a little garbanzo bean flour. And you can make cookies, cakes, pies, pie crusts, anything and everything that you would think of, you can make with those and still be able to have them. So
now hold the bus, because another little word just dropped in here when I'm thinking dairy. I can still have eggs, right?
Yes. For most people, if you had a full-on autoimmune, if this particular diet and protocol that I can send you stuff on for your cancer, if that doesn't take care of it and start showing remission,
I'm not receiving it in Jesus' name, but
okay.
Blood work says it's there, but hey, I'm not.
It's a symptom of a problem. So on the autoimmune spectrum, eggs are a no-no to start with, to see, because actually if you really wanted to, the egg yolks are the good part. The egg whites are the bad part.
Are you kidding?
No, isn't that funny?
Us the opposite.
I know. That was the whole cholesterol myth thing that's gone now. No,
I'm
actually,
raising my own eggs. I've got my chickens out there free ranging, and
yeah. I mean, but when I go out to a restaurant and again, it's hard to eat out on different diet protocols. But when I go out, I'll order an omelet and I'll tell them all yolks.
And they're like, "Who's the crazy lady?"
Yeah, well, they're separating the whites for the people who don't know any better, who are eating the egg white stuff. So they throw away the yolks. So it's like, hey, give me all the yolks. Give me like 6 yolks. I'm good.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But anyway, now back to where we were a little bit here.
Yes, please.
Something I want to bring to everybody's attention, because this is the part that actually will hit home for a lot of people. There are no essential carbohydrates. We have essential fatty acids. We have essential amino acids from proteins. There are no essential carbs. So we don't have to have them. All the breads, pasta, fried foods, oats, sugar, rice, beans, and fruits, and some vegetables, they all turn into glucose, and our body can use them for energy. But it's like, to our bodies, glucose is diesel fuel. It burns dirty and causes free radical damage and oxidative stress, where actually fats and fatty acids being burned for fuel is like high octane for our bodies. Wow. Our bodies actually burn it clean with no other residual waste that needs to be removed. As far as comparing the two, it's actually a cleaner fuel for our bodies, and it is the preferred fuel of our brains, because our brains, of course, are like 70% cholesterol. This is the funny part. They told us to stop eating cholesterol, and it's like, but our brains are made of cholesterol? Really? Yeah, and every cell in your body has got cholesterol in the cell membrane, because that helps keep it fluid. And it's just, it's amazing that we actually went down that road where they actually demonized cholesterol. Because cholesterol is just the fireman who shows up to the fire and not the cause. The fireman didn't cause the fire. He's just showing up at the fire. That's what cholesterol is. Wow. It's like stucco for a damaged building. That's what cholesterol does, is it repairs things. Mm-hmm. So if you have a lot of cholesterol, it's because you have an underlying fire. Mm-hmm. And sugar, too high of sugar, can cause high cholesterol. So again, if you remove the carbs, now I would never suggest to people, I get all the time when people talk to me about ketogenic diet, it is a low carb, but it's not a no carb. You can get into ketosis and regulate your blood sugar eating about 50 grams of glucose a day, mm-hmm. which means that you can still have like a half a cup of fruit. You can still have like paleo muffins. You can still have paleo pancakes. I mean, you just have to watch where you get your carbs from and decide. I do huge amounts of greens. I do 75% of my diet is vegetables, low glycemic or low sugar vegetables, and I can eat all I want because they're so low. I mean, a 3-cup salad only has like 5 carbs. I mean, and you can put all this other stuff on it to make it fabulous and still not bring up the carbs. The cucumbers and the tomatoes and all this other stuff you can put on there to make it delicious and not increase the carbs that much so that you can still have carbs for yummy stuff when you want to.
And you're not hungry on this diet.
You know what? I have to make myself eat. I mean, when you get into a state of ketosis, you actually really don't, you're not really that hungry. I mean, especially when you have enough fat to burn, which most of us do, you really aren't that hungry. Now, I've been trying to cycle out. They say that, yes, you're not supposed to be on this diet for a long period of time. I have been dairy-free ketogenic now for 4 years. It took me a little over a year to lose 90 pounds.
Wow.
And to reverse, so that reversed my obesity. I still could stand to lose, 10, 20 pounds myself, and I'd like to, but, I really don't care if I'm healthy. But I had to do some extra supplements to be able to get rid of my A1C. That was a big thing for me. So
I don't know
wanted
what A1C is.
Okay. Well, that is your long-term blood sugar. What it is, see what sugar does. I mean, glucose itself not only is processed sugar, not natural, but even your regular glucose that comes from your food, when it can't get into your cells and it stays in your body tries to do something with it, and what it does is it sticks to your blood cells and crystallizes, which not only lowers the function of your blood cells, but actually these crystals are like shards sticking off of your blood cells. And as they go through your blood, they actually cut little holes in your blood vessels, causing inflammation, causing damage, causing your blood pressure to go up. And then it also sticks to the wall of your vessels and actually caramelizes and starts to cause plaque buildup on the inside of your vessels. This is all from sugar. So all of your atherosclerosis, your artery plaque, your damage, your high blood pressure can all be linked to sugar, to glucose.
We've done, when we first got into alkaline ionized water, we did dark field microscopy. I can't say the word right, but they take pictures of your blood, and we did kind of before and after pictures where we went right after we had started drinking the water, and then 9 months later. And my former husband had great big white dots. I still have the before and after pictures of his blood, and his blood was misshapen. It had these white dots that was representative of sugar. And 9 months later, the cells were round and healthy, and all of that white stuff was gone. It was a huge difference. Now, I'm curious, what is your stance on stevia?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't count as a sugar. Okay.
But you have to be careful with it's, the food industry, big food and food industry isn't always on target for things. Now, they say even when it comes to the stuff we want, stevia, if you buy it in a powder and you turn it over and you look at the ingredient list, it'll say maltodextrin or dextrose, which is a sugar. So they're adding in this sugar to the stevia so that it measures properly, but it's still sugar. So the only real way to do stevia correctly, as for me anyway, is I buy the drops.
Wow.
And that way I put in drops in my tea. I'll put it in my muffin mix, the drops, etc. Now, another okay one for me for sugar is erythritol.
Okay.
Of all the sugar alcohols, that one seems to be the best. It measures exactly the same as sugar, so you can actually make your muffins and things or whatever else you want to make when you adjust recipes, etc. And there is a whole thing on Pinterest on how to change over your recipes. If you're using this much flour, use this much coconut flour, use, that kind of thing to convert recipes. But with the erythritol, it's like 1.25 cups is equivalent sweetness-wise to 1 cup of regular processed sugar.
Okay.
So you can actually use that in your baking and in your stuff. I use it to make my own nut bars because I make my own nut bars so that I have, yummy stuff to eat. I love making, instead of buying, because I like Kind bars are okay. There's a couple of different ones of Kind bars that only have 5 grams of carbohydrates. And I do buy those and keep them with me at all times so that if I get stuck somewhere, I have something to eat. But I do make my own bars, which are less than 5 grams of carbs. When I just put in a food processor all these different types of nuts, and I mix it in with some of the erythritol, and put in oh, I'm forgetting now my recipe. But anyway, I make my own. So, but anyway, that way, and then I crumble it up and put it in yogurt, or I'll crumble it up and put it, into different things. And I put it into my muffin mix because I like all the nuts because they're so good. They have all the omega-3s and, all the other good fats in them and everything else. So I'm a big nut person. Proteins. I get a lot of my fat and proteins from my nuts.
So you're not counting yogurt for dairy then?
I do coconut milk, unsweetened coconut milk yogurt.
You're making your own, or you buy it somewhere?
I buy it. So delicious.
I've heard of it.
So Delicious makes it, and you can buy it. I get it. Store here is called Sprouts. They sell it also at Whole Foods. They also sell it at Mother's Market here, and many health food stores carry it. I buy the big container. It's like $5 for a big giant container, but it's unsweetened coconut milk yogurt.
Oh my goodness.
And it's good. And that way I can stir in whatever I want. I can stir in stevia and make it, and some cocoa powder, and make it into like a chocolate treat. I can, put it onto apple strudel that I make, or whatever, or put it on my pancakes. I put it in my smoothie because it's unsweetened. They don't have to pasteurize it, so the probiotics are still there. When you buy yogurts of any kind that have fruit in it, the sugar is going to cause a bloom of the probiotics. So they pasteurize it to kill most of the probiotics. So if you're buying any kind of sweetened yogurt type thing, it really has very little probiotics in it anymore. So even though it has a little, but if you buy the unsweetened, it still they don't have to pasteurize it. So it still has all the probiotics in it. So it's much better for you. So that's what I do for yogurt.
That is excellent to know.
So yes, I absolutely. And they also, now here's another one for you. You're going to like this. So Delicious also makes a sugar-free, dairy-free ice cream. Out of coconut milk and stevia and monk fruit and erythritol.
Really?
So it's not got the artificial sweeteners in it. It's got the okay stuff in it. So you can actually eat it without any guilt. It's awesome. And they also put in there's some inulin, which is actually a prebiotic, which means it's going to be good for your microbiome. Oh, can't get enough.
Are you kidding me?
No, not at all. And it doesn't taste just like ice cream, but it's good. It totally, it's hard living in a house with other people who don't eat like you do, because my husband doesn't. Every meal I cook, I have to cook 2 separate meals.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that's just what I do. He wants Italian night, I'll do 1 pan of mine and 1 pan of his. I cook them both at the same time, and voila, it's done.
Wow.
And I usually make 2 batches, so I have one that I can, put aside for like lunch another day type thing. But when he says, I want a bowl of ice cream, and I'm sitting there looking at that carton, and it's like, nope, I don't need this. I can get my own. So I'll make him a bowl and give it to him, and then I'll get out mine. And then I don't feel deprived that way.
Oh, I
because
love
it's,
it.
yeah, I don't
That's
ever
the
want
one
to
thing
feel
I
the
told
time.
my husband that I was sort of regretting with this transition of, hard stop, no sugar. I had always said that if I ever got cancer, I would alkalize my body and that I wouldn't go off. And I believe in quality of life being very important. And I see people, I have a lot of people around me with cancer right now. Their whole life is full stop, like I'm saying, but then everything becomes about cancer. Every hour of the day, every becomes about that. And I don't want that. But the idea of still having ice cream would be nice. So,
Yes, yes. And not only that, but I mean, again, if we can, some of these supplements that are available that have huge amounts of research behind them as far as regulating blood sugar and actually reversing damage to the pancreas is going to be huge in regulating your blood sugar. That's going to help mitigate your cancer,
wow. Well,
or
again, it's
your
not my
precancer.
cancer. I
Yes,
don't
yes.
receive
Okay.
cancer in Jesus' name.
Well,
But but I understand what you're saying. The cancer. Okay, yeah.
you have something to learn from your experience. That's why it's here.
So,
So you're being taught something. But again,
well, it gives
for
me an
me,
opportunity to teach others what we
yes,
can do
exactly.
outside of traditional,
Absolutely.
So,
And not only that, but again, even though they've given this big stigma to this big word,
mhm.
that they've given all this to it's just a word for a bunch of symptoms. That all have an underlying cause that needs to be addressed.
Exactly.
That's it. It's just a word that says, okay, I have work to do. I have stuff. My body is telling me that it's not liking something I'm doing, and now I need to figure out what it is and fix it. That's
Yep.
all. That's all it is. It's just a diagnosis of a bunch of symptoms that just says, I got work to do.
Yep.
Anyway, so I wanted to go over real quick here some of the main supplements.
Please.
So now, there are two major players as far as supplements go for diabetes. Gemina sylvestre is one of the biggest one. It's been around since 600 BC.
Wow. Can I
That they
get you
have
to
used
spell
it.
that for me? Because I haven't heard of it.
Yes. GYM, as in going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
NEMA.
Okay.
And that is one of the best things as far as it decreases your absorption of the glucose into the blood. So it slows it down getting into your system. And then it actually helps with appetite control and sugar cravings. And it also, there are some studies that showed that some people actually started to reverse or regenerate their pancreas when they were using it.
Well,
So,
I went out and bought the Baswala that you recommended I bought it for both my grandmother and I after you recommended it for our knees and told us at the last episode what you did, how it helped your own knees.
oh, keep going with that. It is, I mean, again, it's frankincense. It is biblically proportioned for healing of the human body. It is here for us to use for everything, and it should help with everything. So, but anyway,
Okay.
the next big player here is called berberine. Now,
You want to spell that one
berberine,
too?
BERBERINE.
Okay, thank you.
Now, berberine, actually, they have showed in actual double-blind studies, doing the whole thing, giving one group the berberine and one group a metformin, which is one of the drugs for diabetes, and found that berberine actually matched in performance in regulating blood sugar, as well as let's see here, it drops your resistance. It actually is the amount of stuff that berberine does, it lowers your blood pressure. It does all these, it actually, stuff that it does, it lowers your cholesterol. It's amazing what this stuff does. All the research, people Google it and you'll find out that it's one of the best things out there. Plus it has no side effects. And the dosage is between 500 and 1,000 milligrams a day, is supposed to perform as well as metformin without any side effects, and actually help out with a whole bunch of other stuff in the body. It actually helps with leaky gut. It actually helps with inflammation. It helps with a lot of different things. It's a new, for me, it's one of the superfood things, or the super botanicals out there.
Wow.
And of course, turmeric is always good because it's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, lowers your blood sugar, lowers your cholesterol, protects your kidneys, relieves pain, improves digestion. But turmeric, now, you need to get turmeric in several different forms. One of the several different forms, because just turmeric by itself that you buy at the spice aisle isn't going to do it for you. You have to get enough dosage. Now, turmeric by itself is not bioavailable very highly, so it doesn't mean your body absorbs very much, so you need quite a lot of it. But if you get, I buy a supplement for myself that is turmeric and black pepper, because the black pepper actually increases its availability by over 1,000%.
Wow.
So that means you can take less and get more benefit. And there's a lot of new products out there as far as fermented turmeric.
Really?
Which again increases its bioavailability or its absorption capability so that you can take less and get more out of it. So those are the two types you want to get as far as
I hate
turmeric
swallowing pills, so I have been buying big bags of everything. So I bought a big bag of turmeric, and I scoop everything into, I call it my shake every day. I'm literally going out. You're going to laugh at me, Jacqueline, but I'm really doing this. Apparently they call Kentucky the bluegrass state. I say that it's the dandelion state. I've never seen so many dandelions in my life, but I'm going out, I'm digging dandelions out of my yard. And, you know, they say the leaves are good for some things and the flowers are good for some things, or the roots are good for something. I'm washing it real good and put the whole thing in my shake. And
I am proud of you. I am proud of you. I am absolutely proud of you. Yes.
So, you know, by the time I put the turmeric and all these different other supplements that are supposed to be good and whiz it up in that blender, and, you know, it's tolerable. But she tried to get me to take 50 pills a day. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, you know, my smoothies, I have like 2 or 3 cups of spring mix and arugula and dandelion greens all go into my smoothies, but I put in a half a cup of frozen fruit, and I'll actually take the spring mix and freeze it.
Really?
So that I can put it into my smoothie and it'll turn it into, like, you know, a frosty. And then I put beets and all sorts of, I mean, I have like 20 ingredients that go into my smoothies too.
And ginger and blueberries. And
yes, there you go. But, and then a cup, a scoop, a tablespoon of 100% organic cacao powder. Turns it into a chocolate treat. Again, never feel deprived of anything. And so I mean, I'm almost every day I have my smoothie and I get my chocolate frosty every day that has like 5 servings of vegetables in it.
Oh, good for you.
So yes. And
so those of you that are listening that you're like, I don't really like vegetables, or I really don't like fruit,
don't taste them.
You get it in that smoothie and you throw any of the other stuff that you're trying to get down. I'm buying chopped dandelion roots just to get some more roots in there, and they're chunky. So I really like the Magic Bullet. The Magic Bullet is a fabulous,
absolutely, absolutely,
to mix everything up. And, you know, you can throw an apple in there if you want it a little bit sweeter to control the flavor, right?
Well, actually, what I do is one of the big things that's going around right now is the apple pectin in the peel is actually one of the best parts, but to be fully absorbable, it needs to be cooked.
Really?
So I actually make my own. Some people call it stewed apples. Some people call it apple sauce. But basically, I peel my apples, and then I take all the peels and I put them in my food processor. And then I chop them up real fine, and then I put them back into the pan with the apples, and then I low cook those into a sauce, and then I spoon that into my smoothies.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then, or, you know, I'll spoon it into the yogurt and stir it up. I'll you know, if I need a treat, I'll put a spoonful into some almond butter and stir it up for breakfast.
So for a diabetic, a natural sugar like an apple is still going to be okay.
Well, with the ketogenic, if you go, again, the best way to find out whether or not you're doing it correctly is to go on to chronometer.com, CROMO meter.com, designed by Dr. Mercola. And you can put in everything you eat in a day, and it'll tell you every single vitamin, nutrient, macro, micro, down to how much omega-3s, how much omega-6. I mean, the whole 9 yards is in there for you. And I did it for like 2 weeks to figure out basically how much carbs everything has so that I no longer have to use it. But basically you want to limit yourself to 50, so you get to choose what 50 you want.
Okay.
So if I'm going to have a tablespoon of, applesauce, okay, that might be 10. So there's 10 for the day. Okay, if I'm going to put a half a cup of fruit, of berries into my smoothie, okay, there's another 10. So okay, all the greens mix, maybe there's another 5. Okay, I'm going to have one of my paleo muffins for dessert or whatever, and okay, there's another 10.
Okay.
So, it's just a question of, you have to choose. If you want to do something that's higher in carb, like 40, you just can't have any more the rest of the day. You have to limit. So you
Just
get
be
to choose. Yeah, you just get to choose. Okay, today I want a sweet potato. Okay, fine. Well, that's going to be 20 carbs. So you've spent, almost half your day's allowance on that. So what else are you going to do during the day to keep it down? So that's how you regulate out to make sure you're getting 50 or less.
Got it.
I don't like some of the people who say, but the thing is, many people say the ketogenic diet is bad for you because they're not keeping up on the research. If you do a high nutrient dense 6 to 10 servings of vegetables a day with your keto, that means 75% of every plate you eat during the day is vegetables, low carb vegetables, and then 1/4 of your plate is protein, then you will have all the nutrient benefits and you won't have to leave being into keto. But most people don't, they just eat meat.
I've seen
And that's bad for you.
unhealthy vegans.
Oh,
and, I was just with my daughter and grandchildren, and
no, you're not old enough for that.
oh, girlfriend, my oldest granddaughter just graduated high school.
Oh, no way.
And, okay, I've got to share this story.
Okay,
this is
you're doing something right here.
This
anyway.
is well, thank you. This is one of my proudest thing, because she and I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time together in life. She had another grandmother that occupied all of her time, and I would say, hey, I want her once in a while, and it didn't happen. And 3 years ago, she was talking about wanting to be a traveling nurse, and I was trying to talk to her about being a businesswoman and all the benefits of the things I teach on the podcast. And she started working for me about 6 months ago. She types up my show notes, and she does the social media and some things like that. So we were walking in the park, and she was talking about her future dreams, and she was saying how she wanted to travel and she wanted to have clients that she could work with anywhere while she traveled. And I said, oh my gosh, I teach that on the podcast. She goes, I know, that's where I learned it. Oh my gosh, to find out that I had been able to influence this granddaughter that I haven't gotten to have a real strong relationship. You couldn't have given me $1 million and made me happier than that moment right there.
Absolutely. The more people's lives that we touch, and the more every conversation you have with yourself, actually, I mean, my personal feeling and a lot of other people, every conversation and everything you do goes into the collective consciousness, and everybody has access to download it or experience it or to in touch with it. So, even with me doing my research or me writing my papers and publishing it, I know that I am making a difference out there, because it's bringing more and more stuff to more and more people's conscious awareness. Yes. And, if they're here, then they're moving in that direction and they have a chance, and then they can turn around and spread it to their consciousness and their collective. And the more people that we can hold hands with, in this consciousness, the more influence and the more change we can make, and the more people we can help. That's what we're doing.
To touch somebody's life. Well, Jacqueline, I know we do have to wrap up soon. I want to let you finish through your list, and then we've got to tell people how to reach out to you and how they can get coached on these things from you so that they can fast track to healing. Okay,
so let's just do a real quick read here of some of the other supplements. Biotin, bitter melon, omega-3s, not from fish. Drop the fish oil. That's now been debunked. ALA, alpha lipoic acid, also is for carb metabolism. Probiotics, 15 plus strains, and coagulans. Bacillus coagulans is the actual one particular strain of bacteria that is really good for regulating blood sugar. And then, of course, magnesium. You need to get a pure source of magnesium. Glycinate is one of the best ones. It'll help with it. We need to get that deficiency taken care of.
And take magnesium at night, not in the daytime.
Yes. And I actually buy the spray and then rub it on my legs.
Oh, okay.
It makes it, because you don't like taking pills, right?
So you can make your own too.
You can buy magnesium oil, and it's super concentrated, and it's just it. And then, of course, you can always take Epsom salt baths to get the magnesium. Your body absorbs that too.
I didn't know that. I love Epsom salt baths.
Oh, add a little baking soda, and your body will absorb the alkalinity.
Really?
Yeah. It'll actually, a cup of each in the tub will actually help alkalize.
Ooh,
spirulina actually increases insulin sensitivity by 225%. But they're talking about 19 grams a day for 8 weeks to detox and alkalize, to be able to get back your insulin sensitivity, so that your mitochondria will start functioning properly again. Chlorella, cinnamon, absolutely. I do cinnamon essential oil in my tea every morning. It's equivalent to more than a tablespoon of regular powdered cinnamon in one drop.
Wow.
It's the easiest way for me to get it. Ginger, I also do ginger essential oil in my tea, because it lowers your fasting blood sugar by 10% for every drop. So it's a cool thing. MCT oil is one of the best things. Coconut oil, those are the best things out there for your healthy oils. Flaxseed actually repairs cellular damage and lowers and stabilizes your blood sugar. I buy the full organic flax seeds and grind them up in a coffee grinder and then put them into my smoothies. Or you can stir them into the coconut yogurt, or you can just stir them into, a glass of almond milk or coconut milk, whatever you like. All sorts of, sprinkle it onto, whatever you're eating type thing. But fresh ground is important, because it goes rancid very quickly if you buy it already ground. So I just use my coffee grinder, and I'm okay with a little bit getting into my coffee the next time I grind coffee. But another big one, apple cider vinegar, the raw stuff. I put that in my tea every morning. It actually does huge things as far as your blood sugar, your insulin sensitivity. It slows down your uptake, stimulates your digestion, alkalizes the body. It's probiotic if you buy the actual raw, unfiltered stuff. It's one of the best things out there. So anyway, that's if they want more, they can always go to my website and they can read the paper and see all the things listed and such on there.
And tell us about your website. Where is it?
Okay, so it is Real Health, SOLNS.com. That's the chemical abbreviation for solutions. I'm also at Real Health Solutions with Jacquie on Facebook, and my Pinterest site is also Real Health Solutions. I have a LinkedIn profile with all my published papers and everything about me and my history. If you want to go to LinkedIn under Jacquie Walbern, it's all there, and that's JACQUIE, by the way, in case they're not seeing it on screen. I can see it on screen, but anyway, I do personal consulting. I do free email consultations. You can send me anything you want. Tell me your history. Tell me what your journey's been, what you've tried, where you've been, and send me your blood work. And I'll be happy to tell you basically what you need to do. And then if you want me to design a individual program for you, specific to all of your needs, then I can do that for a fee. So.
Wow. Well, that is impressive, Jacquie. All right, everybody, we are going to have Jacquie's information on our website at www.princesspower.com, and you can read the full show notes there, as well as sharing the show if you would like. And we just want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you for our listeners. And Jacquie, thank you so much. We've got to have you back on the show for sure. I know people are going to want to hear more.
Awesome. I'm here. This is what it's all about. So yes, blessings to everybody.
Well, great. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Princess Power Hour with Natalie Thomas. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit princesspower.com or on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter at @PPPrincessPower. Until next time, work smarter, not harder. Have a question for your host of Princess Power Hour, Natalie Thomas? Contact us at www.princesspower.com or tweet us at ppprincesspower.